Living in Bad Neighborhoods. Justice, Kevin, Colin, and AJ. The social determinants of health are economic stability, education, the healthcare you receive, the community and social context, the neighborhood, and the built environment you are in. The neighborhood you live in can directly affect all of the other social determinants and is a major factor to your health. For our topic, we chose to talk about how bad neighborhoods can affect your health and wealth. When you think about a bad neighborhood, you usually think about the housing situations, the crime in that neighborhood, if there is immediate transportation access, and what the quality of air is. For our presentation, we chose to talk about 3 cities in America that have examples of bad neighborhoods. These cities are Chicago, Detroit, and Compton. In Chicago, you can see how the life expectancy varies throughout the different parts of the city. The places in the green are the nicer neighborhoods, and the places with the orange and red are the bad neighborhoods. Englewood is one of the most notorious neighborhoods in Chicago. It is most known for being one of the most dangerous parts of the city. Englewood has the second highest homicide rate in the city, so you can see that people living there aren't very safe. In the Englewood neighborhood, you can walk down the street and see many liquor stores and corner stores, also fast food places. In this neighborhood, there aren't any nearby places where the residents could get a healthy meal. This also seems to be one of the contributing factors to why the life expectancy in this neighborhood is so low. It is hard to be healthy in a neighborhood when there's so much violence and no access to healthy foods. If you are growing up in the Englewood neighborhood, it is likely that you will end up attending one of the local public schools. This means that there's a very real chance that a parent could be sending their child to a failing public school. An average of 20,000 students are being left behind in the Chicago public schools a year. It is hard to become financially stable as you get older if you lack the basic reading and math skills.
Compton was founded in 1888, one of the oldest cities in Los Angeles County. At first, Compton was a white suburban neighborhood. Compton crime problem started in the 1960s. After the Watts riot, the crime rate started to go off the charts. By 1969, it experienced the highest crime rate in the state of California. We also see those white suburban residents move out of the suburbs. Fun fact, President George Bush briefly grew up in Compton when he was a toddler. As of 2018, there has been reported 3,685 crimes in the city. According to News.com, Compton has one of the highest rates of unsolved homicides in Los Angeles. We see the crime take effect on the people in the neighborhoods, such as lack of fresh grocery markets and consequent negative effects on the community. We see the city have a lack of fresh grocery markets. The reason is that there are very few stores in the Los Angeles area, such as Compton. Also, the biggest thing is Compton doesn't attract big chains markets like Stop and Shop, Walmart, etc. In neighborhoods like Compton, we see many corner stores like bodegas that sell food but it's not the healthiest or freshest, and that can lead to a big impact on the community. According to Central for Health Journalism, there's a high obesity and diabetic people in Compton and the surrounding areas. This is due to less accessibilities for people to buy fresh food, and the average household income is $45,406. Average property value is $264,300. This is caused by a lack of funding in school systems. Compton's funding for school system is very low. According to AreaVibes.com, we see an average test score is around 19% compared to the national average, which is 49%. The lack of funding in the school is causing people to earn less money and therefore having low incomes. 0.3% only have bachelor's degree and only about 58.8% only have high school degree.
The first Europeans came to Detroit during the 1930s and were missionaries, traders who dealt with the tribes. The city of Detroit, however, wasn't fully settled and started as a settlement in the early 1700s. The city is currently the second largest city In the Midwest behind Chicago, it is known as the city of design for all the new innovations that have been created. Detroit is a very important city for transportation due to it being so close to Canada. It has ports, railroad connections, and international airports. Detroit has three international border crossings. However, the Ambassador Bridge is the single busiest border crossing in North America, carrying 27% of the total trade between the US and Canada. Detroit also relies heavily on the car manufacturing industry for income. Some of the big names include Chevrolet, Ford, and General Motors. Detroit also is renowned for their influence on music such as rap, jazz, and has had some very famous artists come up through the city of Detroit, such as Eminem. In the Detroit metro area, 30.8% of adults are obese. That is greater than the national rate of 27%. Additionally, about half of all the murders in Michigan in 2015 occurred in Detroit, which is why Detroit lands in the top 25 for murder rates throughout the United States. These alarming statistics show the personal and community health and safety is much lower in the city of Detroit. Detroit public school students scored the lowest on tests of reading and writing of all major cities in the United States in 2015, as well as the annual income of a resident of Detroit being below the national average. Growing up in Detroit can be very difficult. Detroit's life expectancy is 77.3 years from birth compared to the national rate of 78.5 years. When you look at a neighborhood, you try to see if they include things like transportation access, desirable housing situations, access to grocery stores, and the safety of the community. In these three cities, a majority of the neighborhoods lack these aspects of a good neighborhood, which affects the health and wealth of these residents.